Back again on Cricbuzz In Conversation, and the person I'm going to speak to today, I think it's a pretty open secret that I've admired him for a long time. I enjoy watching him play. I enjoy interactions with him. He comes across as a very honest, earnest person. See, I've already started. I've enjoyed talking to Cheteshwar Pujara. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us in between two net sessions, as it is.
Pleasure, Harsha. How are you? How are you doing?
Good, getting by as well as we can. But
Yeah.
I'm told this is between two net sessions, this conversation.
Yeah, it is actually. So I've finished my morning training session, and now I'll have a skill session in the afternoon. So yeah, it's a luxury when you are staying in a smaller city where you can commute in 15-20 minutes. So you can do a morning session as well as an evening session.
But you do morning and evening sessions when you're batting also, so that's not too different anyway. I thought I'd start with two men who had an influence in your life. The first, of course, was your father, but I'm not going to talk to you about the role your father played, just about his role as your coach. Did he appoint himself as your coach, or did you appoint him as your coach, or did it just happen?
It just happened. Basically, he started teaching me when I was young. So I actually just wanted to play cricket. I never thought that I will have to learn this game. I just wanted to enjoy the game as a kid, and without me realizing if I wanted to play cricket, my father gave me a time that I had to reach there at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, and then I was allowed to play cricket. And without my realization, he was teaching me cricket. I didn't know. I mean, I was just enjoying the game. I was just batting. I was just bowling, fielding at the cricket ground as a kid. So I mean, I didn't realize that I was learning this game, but somehow he was teaching me. And when I was say 13, 14, by that time I realized that he has been teaching me, and I've been getting tips from other coaches. The moment I joined the state team, I started understanding that you still have to interact with other coaches. You still have to learn this game as a professional cricket player.
I was fascinated by the story that I read of how he rolled the ball to you rather than as normal people to go on the bounce because he was afraid you'd hit it across the line. It's interesting. At what point does someone who's taught you everything about the game stop being your coach? I mean, I asked this question of Sangakkara. Sangakkara is in a very similar situation where his father taught him the game, but his father never stopped being his coach. His father wanted to stay his coach. Does your father still want to be your coach?
Yes, he does want to. Even now.
Yeah.
I think even when I retire, even after that, he would want to talk something about cricket, and he will still tell me that you could have done this or you could have done that. So I don't think he will stop at any stage.
So does he still tell you after you've made 500 runs in a series against Australia that maybe your grip was wrong, maybe you should have opened your stance a little bit, maybe?
Not the technical aspect all the time, but he would still say that you could have still. I mean, when I had scored 100, he would say that you could, if you had stayed, you would have scored 150 or 170 or whatever. Like it'll be a discussion rather than an advice. But yeah, when I'm doing well, it'll be more on a positive side. When things are not going well, I mean, things are slightly on a negative side, but it's for my betterment, not in an argumented way. Yeah.
You're a parent now. You'll understand parents a lot better. But once you become a parent, yourself.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit about him, and he was quite a fiery. I mean, at the workplace, he was quite a stubborn person. And when I asked some people about you, interesting, one of the words that came through was also stubborn. Do all good players have to be stubborn?
At some stage, you have to be. You have to be stubborn. You have to be a little reluctant in what you do. The reason is, I feel personally, if you are confident about what you are doing, if you know that you are on the right path, then you have to stick to it, because there are several times when people will give you opinions. There will be some suggestions, but if you don't stick to your path, if you move around somewhere else, then there is a possibility that you might lose out on something. But if you're confident about your preparation, and if you stick to that, and if you want to stick to that, I think you have to be stubborn in some way.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stories about your father that go around. And if your father's been a first-class cricketer, I guess it accompanies you. You might play 70, 80 test matches, but people tend to talk of that first. They talk about your mother a lot. She had a big role to play. The only story I wanted to talk to you about was, you said somehow, and I don't know if it's the Gujarati blood in you that makes the most of what you have. There's always dry fruits and coconut water for you.
Yes, at home. It was always ready. Whenever I used to come back from practice, my mother made sure that I used to have a proper diet even at that age. Actually, I never realized the importance of diet when I was young. When my mother passed away, I still used to eat junk. But when I was very young, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, she was the one who used to make sure that I eat proper diet. And she used to look out for my routine as well. It's not just about diet, but it's also about following a nice routine. When you are practicing in the morning and in the evening as well, and you are going to the school also. So in the evening, she used to make sure that there's no TV at night. I used to go to bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I used to wake up early. So if you don't understand that routine, being a young kid, then I mean, you might want to watch TV for another hour or half an hour, but next day morning you won't be fresh, and you won't be able to practice the same way. Way you want to. Yeah.
You're 8 or 9 years old. The only reason I brought up the mother story is that far too much is talked about fathers in the development of cricketers, and I think mothers play as big a role sometimes in bringing them up. I want to talk to you about the mindset of a player like this. You played 525 balls in an innings at Ranchi. In that series in Australia, you played 1,258 balls. What is this patience that comes? Can it be taught? Is it something that's just part of you from when you were a child? I mean, you scored a triple hundred when you were 13 years old. Is it just inbuilt? Can it be taught? How does that work?
Usually it's inbuilt. It can be taught, but it's just the mindset which has to be really, really positive, and you have to be really calm as a person, because how much ever you are confident, at the same time, what you need to understand is whatever is going around you, you just have to switch off from it completely, because you don't need to look at the scoreboard, you don't need to look at the opposition bowler, as long as you understand that there will be a time when you will be able to accelerate or you will be in command. You just need to wait for that time. And for me, it came with the experience of playing junior cricket, playing for Saurashtra, at times in a difficult situation. So I realized that there have been many test matches where I got off to a very good start, but most of the times I take a little bit of time, but from within, I know that if I'm there, I'll be able to make up for it. And one has to understand their own game. And once you realize your strength, then mentally you are stable, mentally you don't have any thoughts. Because most of the time, what happens, what I've observed with other players who has more talent than me, but somehow they feel like if they are not scoring runs, they don't feel like, they belong there. They want to do something. They want to try something which is not required in test format.
You're hungry as well. You're a hungry player. Every batsman wants to go out there and score runs. So you've blocked 20 balls, 30 balls, you scored 3 or 4 runs, but you're blocking, but the scoreboard isn't moving very much, because this is the phase which you're willing to give to the bowler to earn your time thereafter. Doesn't that not play on your mind at all?
No, it doesn't, because at times what I look to do is I have rules of playing an hour in a test match. If I have walked in, if we have lost first wicket in first 5 or 6 overs, when I'm walking in, my first target is to be at the crease till the drinks time. So I reassess. I get a little bit of time to reassess that how the pitch is behaving. You talk to your partner. You realize that there's a little bit of help for the bowlers, and then you speak to them about building partnership. So then I move on to lunch time, and if I'm there till lunch, most of the games I'm really, really confident that I've played first session, I've played till lunch time. Now next 2 sessions, at some stage I'll start capitalizing. It could be in first hour after lunch, it can be second hour after lunch, but usually if I'm there till lunch, I'm very confident that I'll score 100 at the end of the play.
It's an incredible gift, because when I was in Australia watching you score all those runs, and in the commentary box a lot of talk was, where is the Australian Pujara? Because a lot of people are coming in through playing maybe overs cricket at a young age. They're being taught, come on, get gotta move on, play the big shot. Where is the Aussie Pujara? So, I mean, it must be a different feeling to be that kind of person. And yet, you won India the series. Was the objective to tire out the bowlers? Did you get tired yourself? Because that series is going to be a case study on how to win a series.
Yes, there was a stage where mentally and physically I was tired, but thanks to my routine and I do prayer and yoga regularly, which allowed me to stay away from negativity. Where, I mean, if you are tired mentally, it's a thought process. Although you are tired physically, but it's still a thought. If you start thinking positively, that yes, you are tired, but you have done a good job for the team, then you are still fresh for the next game, and there is a lot to play for in the next test match. So at the end of second or third test match, I was under a lot of pressure. I was really tired physically and mentally, but I kept on doing that routine. And when the time came in the fourth test match, I was actually looking forward to it. So there are times where situations are difficult. But one has to stick to the routine. I mean, I'm a strong believer in sticking to a routine, following the processes which I do regularly. And if I keep doing that, I get some power. I don't know from where, but it could be spirituality. It could be the routine which I'm following. I mean, I don't have answer for that, but I feel that if I keep doing the right thing over a period of time, I get the energy, I get the positivity.
I mean, a lot of others benefited from you because you were tiring the bowlers out. The bowlers were coming back for the third spell, fourth spell, which they wished they didn't need to. They were coming back on day 2. They were tired going into the next test match. How do your teammates react to that? Is there pressure from the non-strikers sometimes? Chal yaar, thoda badhate hain. Has there ever been
not
pressure?
At all. See, the good thing about this Indian team is each and every player has a different role. So if I'm batting with Rohit Sharma, I mean, I know his mindset or the way he wants to approach is to play positively. So even if if there's a fast bowler bowling and he might go over the covers and he'll hit it for a 6, which I'll never think about as a non-striker. Or if a spinner is bowling, for example, when Mayank Agarwal came in the second or third test match and he started taking on Nathan Lyon. So my strategy is different, his strategy is different, but we had an understanding that he will want to go over the top. I might play down the ground. So there's an understanding and there is no pressure from the non-striker because they will continue playing their normal game. But if we are not losing wickets, there's a partnership building. So I think even as a team, we were very confident when there was a partnership going on. For us, the most important thing was partnership in that particular tour. Because first test match, we realized that we kept losing too many wickets. But when there is a partnership, we wanted to make sure that we try and build it up. If it's a 50 or 70 run partnership, our target was to at least get to 125, 150, whatever is possible.
Tell me, is all this talk about strike rate and all over now? Because it hurt a lot of people. But also, is the talk all over now? Do people understand, listen, Pujara plays the way he does and he wins us matches, he wins us a series. So is all that talk over?
Yes, it is. Because the teammates, the team management, they have realized that there's a role which I'm playing and there's a way which I can bat. So everyone has different kind of strength and ultimately it's helping the team. So our job is to win game and I mean, after Australia series and even the England series, there have been many overseas tours in 2018-19. So after that, we have realized that there are times where we have to play out session, even as a team, not just me in particular, but even as a team, you just have to be patient and even if you don't score many runs early on, you can always make up those runs in the next two sessions. So I think you start realizing even as a team, the success mantra. It could be, I mean, if the wicket is flat, you will start scoring runs from first session onwards. But you have to just understand the situation. So I don't think strike rate is an issue anymore, not just for me, but any other player.
Delighted to hear that. But do you sometimes think, what's the future of test batting? Because you grew up a certain way. and your biggest strengths are concentration, stability. Do you sometimes think that the face of Test match cricket or Test match batting is going to change as a new generation starts to come in?
Yes. The way I look at it, I think players would want to play their shots because the number of white ball games which they are playing is more than what they play in red ball. So you develop a game which is suited to that particular format, and to switch back from white ball to red ball is not easy. So they would want to continue the same way, and if they are continuing that, then it is very obvious that they will have to play more shots. The mindset is also changing, and even your game, your technique, everything changes. So I feel going forward, it will be. I don't think it will be a battle of a bowler and a batsman. I think who has more patience as a cricketer, if the bowler has more patience in bowling in one area for a longer period of time, ultimately you know that you can set certain fields, you can spread out your field against an attacking player, and they'll make a mistake.
It's fascinating because you're absolutely right in that you see younger players and you tell them, listen, bat 300 balls. They'll say, sir, T20 तो 40 ball का game है, 300 कहाँ से आएंगे? Do you still have white ball? Do you have white ball aspirations, or are you making peace? What's your thought on that?
I still feel within myself. I still feel that I'm very confident that if I get an opportunity, I'll be very successful. If I don't, I can't help it. I mean, it's not in my control. But I will keep working on it. I haven't given up at all because I've been playing many white ball games. Whether it could be county cricket where I play some ODIs. We have Saurashtra Premier League now, which is a T20 format. We have domestic T20s, Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. So I play a lot of white ball cricket.
Yeah, your list record is ridiculous. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's decent. So I am very confident when I'm performing well in domestic cricket. I know that if I get an opportunity in international cricket, where wicket is not doing much, the bowlers, their mindset is not to pick up wickets, but not to concede too many runs. In such scenario, if you are a little positive, the way I bat, maybe once I'm set in Test cricket, my strike rate is completely different. There have been times, I don't look at my stats, but there have been times where people have showed me that you took about 150 balls to score 70, but you moved from 70 to 120 in just 30 balls or 40 balls. So it's more than 100 at times. So I feel that if I can do that in Test cricket, where the ball is still swinging, so I'm sure, I'm very confident that I can do that in white ball for sure.
One of the fascinating things about watching you bat, you're batting 3. You're batting 3, Virat Kohli is batting 4. It's a throwback to Rahul Dravid batting at 3, Tendulkar batting at 4. Could not have two different styles, two different personalities, batting at 3 and 4. Tell us a little bit about batting 3 and 4, you and Virat. Because you're different people, you're different styles, you approach the game different, and yet both of you are putting together a partnership for India.
I think it's I enjoy playing with him. The reason is he's very positive. So once he's at the crease, I know that bowlers will try and take his wicket because they feel that they can get him out early. But his approach is different. He will be positive. If he gets a half volley on first ball, he will try and hit it for 4. So the scoreboard is moving. There's not much pressure on myself because the opposition is thinking that they'll have to pick Virat's wicket, and he's playing positive. So their focus is shifting to Virat, and I can be relaxed at the other end. And in between the over, when we start discussing that what is happening, we always pass on the message. As soon as he comes in, he will ask what they are trying to do, how the ball is swinging, whether if it's a left arm seamer, what are the angles they are using, whether he's trying to bowl an in-swinger or an away swinger. So there's a lot of communication as well. But I feel the moment he starts being positive, there's a lot of pressure on the opposition team, and I can be relaxed. I can just keep playing the same way I've been. And there have been times where, because their focus is on Virat, I get some extra loose balls.
So it's never you walking up to him and said, Virat, roke khelna. or him coming up to you and saying, "Dena ek yahan wahan."
No, I don't think we have any such discussion. But there are times where he has played a cover drive where the ball is on fifth or sixth stump, and I'll go and communicate to him that this is too wide. I mean, he plays his natural game. There's no doubt about him, and he's ready to listen to that, because if the ball is too wide for a cover drive, he also understands that it is not in his zone, so he doesn't need to play that. But he will play a cover drive on the ball which is on the off stump or fourth stump. But if it's on fifth stump, he will be able to listen. I mean, he will tell me, yeah, I didn't play that well.
You know, you talked about spirituality. It's interesting. It's a great change that's coming over Virat, in that he talks a lot more about these things that you're talking about, which he never talked about in the early stage. Early stage was always Virat taking it on. Now he's become vegetarian. He's talking about being spiritual. He told me when we met some time back, he said, आपको भी भूटान जाना चाहिए, शांत होता है, spiritual बड़ा अच्छा लगता है. I mean, I'd imagine a state two of you are meeting the center of the pitch and you're talking spirituality.
No, he has definitely changed as a person in a positive way, and I think it is helping him in his game also, because look at the number of games he's playing in. Now it's a different story altogether, but there was a time when he was playing all three formats, and the number of games he was playing mentally. If I was in that situation, I wouldn't enjoy my cricket. But he could sustain that, and I'm sure spirituality or whatever process is going through, I think it is helping him. So from a player's perspective, I'm sure is a hard. I mean, the way he works on his fitness, he has changed his diet completely. He's turned vegetarian. That's a very big change. But to do that, I mean, it is not easy. Mentally, you have to be very strong to accept all such things, because if you are following such routine, if you are having a big change in your diet, I mean, you get tempted to try and have different things. He is very particular about what he eats.
I've picked out some innings from the many that you've played. Tell me which was the most special for you, or if there's one that I've not picked out, or among these, there's something that you remember. That 72 at Bangalore, obviously, that was when you showed you could play at this level. It was in your test debut. Yeah. 145 not out in Sri Lanka. It came at a difficult time for you, and you're going out to open the batting. That must have been special.
I think that is one of the toughest innings I've played in my cricketing career. The pressure which I had as a cricketer, because I was not part of the playing 11, and suddenly a player gets injured. It's the last game of a test series. You have so many negative thoughts. If you don't perform well, you might be thrown out of the team. And I had such thoughts. If I'm very honest, I had such thoughts that if I don't perform well in this inning, there's a possibility that I might not be part of the 15-member squad of the Indian Test team. To come out of that, I think it's the mental stability which I have. I'm very thankful to my family. I have spiritual guru whom I always speak to, whom I take a lot of guidance from, and I feel that energy, that positivity, and that belief comes from him.
You like opening the batting?
No. If I'm very honest, I don't.
There's something else you have in common with Rahul Dravid. He hated opening the batting, but if you're number 3, I guess it's part of your...
It gives you a little more time, because I feel in Test cricket, the toughest job is of an opener. If you have fielded for about, say, 2 days, if opposition has scored 500, 550 runs, and suddenly they will declare before tea, where you just have to bat for 10-15 minutes, and you are tired, and you just get 10 minutes, and mentally, physically, to concentrate, to focus, I think it is really, really tough.
135 in Mumbai, that was a track that was made for the spinners. It was not just a slow turner. The ball was doing quite a bit. 135 in Mumbai.
Against England, is it?
Against England?
Yeah.
I
think it was special. Yeah. It was special. The reason is we had a back side, and in that particular side, I mean, anyone can walk in and score 100, but we were in a situation where England team was dominating. They were bowling really well. And I was confident because I had scored a double hundred in the first test match at Ahmedabad. So I was in touch. I was having that rhythm. But yes, again, still it was a different track altogether. There was some assistance for Broad and Anderson in the first session. We were playing at 1 KD, so there was a little bit of bounce. So we had to negotiate that seam movement early on, but later on, I think in the first session itself, spinners came on, and there was some grip for the spinners early on because the pitch was slightly damped. I don't know what was the reason, but there was Monty Panis, the way he was bowling at a decent pace, but there was still turn for him. Usually it skids on, but it was holding in, and Graham Swan was bowling really well in that particular series. So
we normally talk of hundreds, but how important was the 92 versus Australia? Because we'd lost the first test, isn't it?
I would rate that particular innings in one of the top 5s of my entire cricketing career. We were in a situation where Australian team was on top. If there wasn't any partnership between myself and Ajinkya in that particular innings, I think we had lost the series. So I thought that innings was, for me, I think it was really, really special. But for me, I think the toughest series, I've always said this, the toughest series I've been part of in my entire cricketing career is the 2017 Test series in India against Australia. Because we were 1-0 down in first test match at Pune, second test match at Bangalore. Again, first inning, Australian team is on top, and we were chasing the game, we were chasing the test match. We had to put up a decent total to make sure that, our bowlers could bowl them out. We realized that Bangalore wicket is always tough to bat on day 3, day 4 or day 5. But that particular wicket was completely different from what we had seen in the past.
Okay, of the 200, you got 300s in Australia, but I picked 2. I know the Sydney 100 was the biggest of them all, but the 123 at Adelaide or 106 at the MCG?
I would pick 123 at Adelaide. 123 at Adelaide, because first test match, day 1, it's a big series. You know that there's a lot to play for. We also knew that their batting was slightly weak, so the only thing which we had to do was to put up a decent total. And I would pick 123 at Adelaide.
Century in the first innings at Adelaide, 70 in the second innings, a test win for India. It's a record someone else has. When India last won at Adelaide, Rahul had done exactly the same thing, right? Century in the first inning, 70 not out in the second inning. So there you go, there's something else that's similar. Okay, we've got 2 exercises for you. You're this very diligent, studious person. We've got 2 exercises for you. One, you've got to pick your World Test 11, but we'll go IPL rules, only 4 Indian players. Your World Test 11 with just 4 Indian players.
Okay. So I'll have to go through this. I've made a list.
Okay.
The list is, I would open with David Warner and Kane Williamson, because there are only 4 Indians which are allowed, and I'll just read the names. So I'll explain why Williamson has to open. So I was told that I have to pick myself as well. So I'll be at number 3, Virat at 4, Smith at 5, Ben Stokes at 6. So I'm still missing out on Joe Root in this, but I would prefer him in my playing 11. But the way the batting order is, he's missing out. And Watling is my wicket keeper at number 7. Ashwin at 8. And then this is not the batting order though. Bumrah, Cummins, and Rabada. These are the 3 fast bowlers I would pick.
It's not a bad side.
Not at all.
I think it's deep. It's got 5 bowling options.
Yeah. And I'll also finish with my 12th and 13th man. So if we are playing in India, it'll be Ravindra Jadeja as another spinning option, and if we are going overseas, Shami will be the next one as a principal.
And of course, there's lots more coming up in this nice, candid conversation with Cheteshwar Pujara. That's in part 2 of Cricbuzz In Conversation.